Scary winter story, The Ice Whisperer. The winters in the small Alaskan town of Frosthaven were brutally cold, the kind of cold that seeped into your bones and whispered in your ears, urging you to stay inside. But for Sam and his younger sister Lily, the quiet isolation of the winter months was an adventure. Their family cabin, nestled deep in the woods, was surrounded by snow so pristine it looked like a dream. But Frosthaven wasn't just a pretty postcard. The locals whispered about the Ice Whisperer, a legend that sent chills through even the toughest hunters. They said that if you ventured too deep into the woods during a snowstorm, you might hear it calling your name. First, softly, like the rustling of trees, then louder, closer, until you felt the cold breath on your neck. Those who heard it were never seen again. Sam always laughed it off as nonsense, but Lily wasn't so sure. "Why do they always close the woods during storms?" she asked one evening, staring out the window at the snow piling up. "Safety, duh," Sam replied, rolling his eyes. "They don't want idiots like us getting lost." But deep down, he felt uneasy. There was something about the endless white expanse of the forest that felt wrong. The storm hit 3 days later, just as the locals had warned. Wind howled through the trees, and snow fell so heavily it seemed to erase the world. Sam and Lily were alone in the cabin. Their parents had gone into town for supplies, promising to return by morning. "Do you hear that?" Lily asked, sitting by the fireplace. Sam paused. At first he thought it was just the wind, but then it came again, a low, eerie whisper, almost like a voice. "Probably just the wind," he said, though his voice lacked confidence. Hours passed, and the whispers didn't stop. In fact, they grew louder, more distinct. "Sam, did it just say my name?" Lily asked, her face pale. "Don't be ridiculous," Sam snapped, but he was lying to himself. He'd heard it too. "Stay here, I'll check outside." He grabbed a flashlight and opened the door, greeted by a wall of icy wind. The beam of the flashlight barely cut through the thick snow, but there was nothing out there. Nothing. Except footprints. They were small, like a child's, and they led away from the cabin into the woods. "Sam!" Lily called from behind him. "Don't go out there!" But curiosity got the better of him. He followed the tracks, his heart pounding louder with every step. The whispers grew louder, swirling around him, but they weren't just voices anymore. They sounded like laughter. Childlike, but wrong. He stopped abruptly. The footprints ended. No sign of anyone around. Just an empty clearing, illuminated by the faint glow of the moon through the storm. And then he saw it. A figure stood at the edge of the clearing, barely visible through the snow. It looked human, but its proportions were off. Its limbs were too long, and its head tilted unnaturally to one side. Its face was obscured, but Sam could feel its eyes locked on him. "Sam," it whispered, and this time it wasn't the wind. Panicking, he stumbled backward, nearly dropping his flashlight. The figure didn't move, but the whispers grew deafening. He turned and ran, following his own footprints back to the cabin, but the storm was erasing them faster than he could follow. When he finally saw the faint glow of the cabin lights, relief washed over him. He burst through the door, slamming it shut behind him. "Lily!" he shouted, but the cabin was silent. His heart sank as he searched the small space. She was gone. Only the faint sound of whispers remained, circling around the room like a taunt. Desperate, he looked out the window. There, in the distance, he saw her. Lily was standing in the same clearing where he had seen the figure. She was barefoot, her pale skin almost blending into the snow, and she was smiling. But something was wrong. Her smile was too wide, too sharp. "Sam?" she called, her voice echoing with the same eerie quality as the whispers. "Come join me. It's so warm out here." He backed away from the window, shaking his head. "You're not her," he whispered. The lights in the cabin flickered and went out, leaving him in darkness. The last thing he heard was the whisper, soft, cold, and right behind him.